Well, for the last 60 years, top-tier high school baseball players have been able to skip college and get right to the pros. I'm sure a lot of them have enjoyed that. However, if Major League Baseball has its way, the practice could come to an end.
Right now, there's a 17-year-old somewhere in America who can throw a baseball 98 miles an hour. In 3 weeks, a team could make him a millionaire. And Major League Baseball just put a proposal on the table that would make drafting him against the rules. Not because he isn't good enough, because he's too young. And a kid who can't say no is a kid who comes cheap. The league will tell you this is about education, about protecting these players. It isn't. It's about a number. More than $1 billion, and the youngest, most powerless people in the sport are the ones being asked to hand it over. Here are the facts, because the facts are enough. On June 18th, during collective bargaining talks, the league handed the Players Union a plan to rebuild how baseball requires amateur players. The biggest rewrite of the draft since the draft was invented in 1966. Start with the headline: high school players would be ineligible. So would junior college players. To be drafted, you'd have to be at least 20 years old, roughly 2 years removed from high school. For most of the best young talent in the country, that means you cannot turn professional until after your sophomore year of college, whether you want to or not. Then the cuts. The draft shrinks from 20 rounds to 12. Signing bonuses get slashed by more than half against last year. Every pick gets a hard fixed slot, a set price, take it or leave it, with far less room to negotiate. And on the international side, where teenagers in the Dominican Republic and Venezuela currently sign as free agents and pick their own team, the league wants a brand new international draft, which would take that choice away entirely. The league's explanation: college baseball has gotten better. Keep the kids in school longer, let them develop. But every single one of those changes does the same thing. It moves money off the table and out of the youngest hands in the game. So, put a number on it. The Players Union did. In its response issued the same day, the MLBPA said this proposal would eliminate more than $1 billion in player compensation over 5 years, with a $400 million cut from 2027 alone. Those are the union's figures, and they have every reason to make them loud. But the mechanics back them up. Look at one pick. The number one selection in this July's draft is slaughtered at $11,350,600. That's the going rate for the best amateur in America. Now, cut the rounds, cap every slot, and cut total bonuses in half. The money simply evaporates, and the people losing it aren't veterans with agents and leverage. They're 18-year-olds who haven't thrown a professional pitch. They have no union seat, no service time, no vote in the room where this gets decided. The current major leaguers negotiating this deal will still get paid. The kids being legislated out of the draft don't even have a chair at the table. That's the quiet brilliance of the proposal. It asks the people with the least power to give up the most. Now, here's the part that connects it to everything, because this isn't really a draft story. It's a salary cap story wearing a different jersey. The owners have spent this entire negotiation demanding one thing above all others: a hard salary cap on major league payrolls, a fixed ceiling baseball has never had. The union calls that, in one word, collusion. But look at what the amateur system already is. Draft bonus pools are capped. International bonus pools are hard capped. The money teams can spend on young players is already fixed by rule. It is quietly the one part of baseball that already runs like a capped league. So when the owners propose hardening those caps even further, they're not just saving money. They're building the model. They're proving the cap works on the players who can't fight back, the amateurs, so they can argue for it on the players who can. The draft is the test case. Win it here against teenagers with no leverage, and the ceiling on everyone else stops sounding radical. It starts sounding normal. And if you want to know how this ends, look at who baseball has aimed at the powerless before, and won. In 2018, the league lobbied Congress for something called the Save America's Pastime Act. It was slipped into a massive government spending bill, and it amended federal labor law to exempt minor league players from minimum wage and overtime, legally. Players in the minors were left earning as little as $1,100 a month, in season only below the federal minimum by the league's own design. It took a lawsuit, $185 million settlement, and the minor leaguers finally unionizing in 2022 to begin clawing it back. The pattern is the same every time. Find the players with the least leverage, the minor leaguers, the amateurs, the 17-year-old from another country who just wants to sign, and write the rule against them, because they're the ones who can't write back. The draft overhaul is the newest chapter of the oldest play in the book. But step all the way back and ask the only question that matters. How is any of this legal? 30 competing businesses agreeing together on a fixed price for labor, on who's even allowed to be hired and for how much. In any other industry in America, that's a federal antitrust crime. Except baseball doesn't answer to antitrust law. In 1922, the Supreme Court ruled that baseball wasn't interstate commerce, that the antitrust laws simply didn't apply. That ruling has never been overturned. It's why the league can run a draft at all, why it can cap amateur pay, why it could contract the minor leagues, why it can sit 30 owners in one room and agree on the price of a teenager. Major League Baseball is the only business in America legally allowed to operate as a monopoly. And the draft is what a monopoly does when it decides the youngest workers cost too much. The cap fight, the minor league wages, and now the kids who haven't even been drafted yet. Every one of them leads back to the same 1922 rule. It's the rule beneath all the others, and it's earned a video of its own. So, when this July's draft plays out and the league talks about the future of the game, listen for what they're really proposing for the next class of kids. Don't watch the picks, watch the rule that decides who's even allowed to be one. We read the contracts, you enjoy the game. This is Diamond Empire.